People think crying easily is a sign of weakness. Psychology disagrees completely. There's a kind of person who tears up at a stranger's wedding video, who studies the floor during the sad part of the film so no one sees, who feels the mood of a room tilt before anyone has said a word. The world has a word ready for them, and it isn't a kind one. Too sensitive. But 30 years of research tells a different story, and the strangest part of it turns the whole thing over. The exact trait that makes these people fall apart in the wrong conditions is the trait that lets them bloom higher than anyone else in the right ones. Like an orchid in the wrong soil. This isn't rare either. The trait behind all that crying shows up in somewhere between 1 in 5 and nearly 1 in 3 people, and in over 100 other species, from house cats to fruit flies. Too many for a glitch. It looks instead like a strategy, a slice of every population built to notice first and act second. So here are 6 signs you're looking at one of them, and the 6th rewrites the other 5. Start with the most visible one. They cry at things that aren't even sad. A small kindness from a stranger. A song that arrives at exactly the wrong moment. The grandfather in the insurance commercial. From the outside, it reads as leaking. Emotion with no off switch. Inside, something far more precise is happening. The psychologist Elaine Aron spent decades studying what she named sensory processing sensitivity. And its core is this. Some brains don't merely register a moment, they process it all the way to the bottom, every layer of meaning at once. Brain scans led by Bianca Acevedo found that highly sensitive people show stronger activity in the insula, the region that gathers everything you're feeling into a single instant, and in the brain's empathy circuits, especially in response to something tender. So the tears at the cereal commercial come from a brain reading the full weight of a moment everyone else only skimmed. And that reading doesn't stop at their own feelings. They pick up yours before you've finished having them. Someone 2 seats away starts to cry, and they're already gone. Not out of manners, but because their body has caught it. This is emotional contagion, and it runs on the mirror neuron system, a cluster of cells that fire the same way whether you do something yourself or simply watch someone else do it. In sensitive people, that system runs hot. They don't observe your sadness from a safe distance. They borrow it. Which means the friend who can never hold it together when you fall apart isn't being dramatic. She may be the only person in the room actually feeling what you feel. But a system that absorbs that much warmth absorbs that much damage too. One small criticism can take down an entire week. A flat little message from a manager. Can we talk later? And they've already cried about it in a parked car before the meeting even exists. To everyone else, this looks like thin skin. But hold on to the depth from a moment ago. The same nervous system that reads a kind moment all the way down reads a cold one all the way down too. The comment doesn't get filed and forgotten. It gets processed, replayed, turned over from 9 different angles at 2 in the morning. The cruel part is the symmetry. You cannot feel only the good things deeply. The wound and the gift come out of the same place. Sometimes the tears aren't about pain at all. Sometimes they come simply because there was too much. The tail end of a loud, crowded, overfull day. The middle of an argument, when what they actually feel is fury, not sorrow, and the tears arrive anyway and humiliate them. Aron called this overstimulation, and it's the piece almost no one explains gently. A more responsive nervous system takes in more noise, more light, more unspoken subtext, and eventually it overflows. Here is the part you were never told. The crying is the body draining the flood. Tears switch on the calming branch of the nervous system, the one that slows the heart and lowers the alarm. It is repair, happening in real time. in front of people who are certain they are watching you come apart. If you spent years apologizing for the one thing your body was doing to protect you, that's exactly why this channel exists. So subscribe, because here we translate what your body already knows into language your mind can finally use. That overflow has a quieter cousin, and it shows up as noticing. They catch the thing no one else caught. The half-second your voice dropped. The "I'm fine" delivered in a tone that plainly wasn't. The detail in the corner of the frame that quietly changed the whole scene. Aron called this sensing the subtle, being tuned to the signals most people screen out as background noise. It gets waved away as overthinking, as reading too much into things. But most of the time, they aren't reading too much into it. They're reading something that is genuinely there, that you simply could not see. And when you feel the small things that loudly, some of them are going to leave as tears. Which brings us to the last one, the one that turns crying easily from a flaw into something much closer to an advantage. In the wrong environment, they wilt, visibly, more than anyone around them. In the right one, they bloom higher than anyone around them. Two researchers, Thomas Boyce and Bruce Ellis, gave this a name: the orchid and the dandelion. Most people are dandelions, hardy, fine almost anywhere you plant them. But some people are orchids. Put an orchid in cold, harsh, neglectful conditions, and it struggles far more than the average person does. Put that same orchid in warmth and safety and care, and it doesn't just recover, it outgrows the dandelion entirely. A later line of work by Michael Pluess named the bright half of this: vantage sensitivity. Sensitive people don't only absorb more of the bad, they absorb more of the good. The crying you watched your whole life wasn't fragility. It was an orchid being raised in the wrong soil. And here is the line that rewrites the 5 before it. We were taught to see the person who cries easily as someone whose feelings spill over because they can't contain them. The research points the other way. Their feelings spill over because their nervous system is reading reality at a higher resolution than everyone around them. More depth, more empathy, more signal, more of everything, all at once. The tears were never the leak in the system. They were proof the system was running at full capacity in a world that kept ordering it to turn itself down. If you saw yourself in even 4 of these, sit with the possibility that you were handed the wrong word your whole life. Not too sensitive, an orchid that spent too long in the wrong soil. And you're far from alone. 1 in 5, remember? So stop apologizing for the tears and start guarding your soil, the people, the rooms, the work you let close, because you feel the good as fully as the bad. If the crying ever turns daily and crushing with no relief, that's worth taking to someone. Sensitivity is a trait, not something to fix. If this gave you language for something you've always felt but couldn't name, subscribe. We translate what your body already knows into language your mind can finally use. We do this every week, and send it to the one person you know who's apologized for crying 1 too many times. Which one hit hardest? Drop the number below.